we can sell you this stone, and as long as you pay the monthly fee for this stone, you will not get broken into, and then you just know where the stones are, and you just don't break into those shops anymore, and you break into the ones that don't have the stones. We are going to start things off with a soapbox, and this time, though, Alex, I swear our soapbox is not going to be about predatory companies and bad practices and general viscera and anger. Not that kind of soapbox.
So is it really a soapbox?
It is, because it is an opinion piece.
Oh, okay.
Because it is an opinion piece, because I was thinking...
Yellow journalism.
It is yellow journalism, that's right. Facts and opinions, they look so similar. Do you remember that from Inside Out?
No.
No? Okay, never mind. They're on the thought train, and they're like, wait, these are facts, these are opinions. Yeah, they look similar, but they are very different.
Yeah, okay.
But
I
anyway.
don't think I watched that as much as you did.
Oh, okay. I saw it literally the once, and I retained that information, but okay. Anyway, so our soapbox today, though, is something that I was thinking about recently, which is that I am of the mindset now that a shop in a game will basically explain everything that you need to know about the game world that you are in. Like, if you went into a just general store in a game world, you'd pretty much learn everything pertinent that you'd need to know about that game world.
Are we talking like the main, like a hub city? Or any shop?
It could be any shop, really.
I'm inclined to disagree with you.
Okay.
On the basis that, what if you're in like the general store of a small town?
And then work on like a barter system or something, or?
No, just like, what if it's a small town?
Okay.
And you're assuming that every bit of information that you can get in the store from the shopkeep is relevant to the rest of the greater world outside of their small region, for instance.
Okay.
Because news wouldn't necessarily travel that fast.
Okay.
Maybe they are a farming town, so all they have in supply are basically farming equipment people would need in town.
Okay.
Are you now saying that everything on this in this shop that you can purchase informs your decision that, oh, the rest of the world is just a big old farming world?
Well, here's the thing. Why don't I'll make the case that I was going with, and then
Sure.
you'll tell me why I'm wrong.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So a few of the things that you can learn just by standing into a shop, and I would say that any shop in a specific game world will pretty much tell you this. One, the kind of currency that they use. That's usually pretty standardized, unless you have something like a barter system. But if they're doing a barter system, you know that that's an option as well. The valuation of things, because even when you have small items, how much those go for can inform you about the worth of the currency that you are using. What the level of technology would be, what kind of equipment that you can actually use, the thematic elements of the world, if you're living in an agrarian society, like you were mentioning before, if you're living in a technological one, if this is a science fiction setting, if it's a medieval one, how much you're going to need to grind. I thought that was kind of an important point, is that, like, if I know that I have been left with X number of fun bucks, and this Coca-Cola can over here is going to cost 5 times that, I also know how much experience and how much looting I'm going to have to do. You get an idea of how the economy works just from how they're selling. You can interact with PCs. You also learn how you actually interact with other people in the environment and what skills are going to be necessary in order to do so, in order to do any kind of trading. So I thought that those were a lot of the basic things about how the game world works that you can learn pretty easily from the shopkeep and from going into a shop. Now you can explain to me why I'm wrong.
If you're talking about the world as a system, then yeah, it would actually inform a lot of those, I think, as long as you don't have giant sweeping changes between different parts of your world.
Mm-hmm.
But that can happen too. For instance, going from a country to another country, you'll have lots of different things potentially, maybe different tech even.
Mm.
Like maybe you've got a high tech, like lower Renaissance, or maybe you've got like steam powered stuff in one country, and the other one is like low fantasy with magic and no real technology like that, for instance.
Mm.
That's the thing that can happen based on cultural differences and say sharing knowledge between different countries. If you are in a store in one spot in one town, maybe they mint their own currency. Maybe they use something specific as their own currency.
Mm.
Maybe they trade in salt.
Okay, well that is something that they used to do.
They did,
Romans,
but
I believe, did that. Yeah.
maybe the next town you go to has a different currency. Maybe they don't trade in salt. They're like, salt is kind of worthless here. We've got a salt mine over here, so it holds nothing to our candle here.
Right.
But you bring us some coconuts and we'll talk business.
Oh, coconuts are great. You can make them sound like horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so currency is very malleable, especially if you want to keep your players not super, like, for instance, you're like, wow, I've noticed my players have a lot of gold, they're just not spending. Maybe I want to make them spend some gold. Maybe the next town they go to doesn't take gold. You have to convert all of your gold at the bank
Yeah.
to Electrum, which no one uses.
Yeah. No one uses Electrum, but maybe they only use Electrum here.
Or something else. Maybe you have to convert that gold into actual commodities and spices, for instance. Like spice trading.
Yeah, actually, if they might actually encourage you to trade stuff into Electrum if they had an Electrum mine and they want to just collect gold and copper and silver and trade off their Electrum that they can mint. That would be fine.
So the value of items, for instance, again, this will be determined by where you are in what the economy and culture is like.
Right.
The value of tools in a town that is craftsman may not be high.
Mm-hmm.
And a town that uses those tools, maybe farmers and stuff who don't have the energy, or a blacksmith in town, or any other town, maybe they don't have a blacksmith to make tools. Tools will be worth a lot more because if you bring them, they normally have to ship them in.
Sure.
So maybe you want to buy one, it'll cost twice as much. But if you want to sell one, you'll get a really good deal.
Right. But now, in some ways, though, the world design is still informed by that shopkeep, by that shop, because you find out the scarcity of certain items and their related valuation of those items.
Sure. It's still informed, but I don't think one single shop will inform, because that's what you said is you walk into a shop and it'll inform you about the entire world. But I think that it's not entirely true, because you'd have to walk into a lot of different shops and a lot of different communities to kind of see the whole run around of what's going on.
I get you. So what my problem is that I'm thinking about a world that is almost homogeneous in its layout.
Yeah, but are worlds like that?
So, depends how good a world builder you are.
All right, Nathan, if I want to buy a Coca-Cola here, how much does it cost, roughly?
Currently about $10.
Okay, not in Hawaii and not accounting for gas prices.
Okay, $1. Probably about $1.
Sure, if I want like a 2-liter bottle of Coke,
couple bucks.
It'll cost like $1 or $2.
Yeah.
Because 2 liters are cheaper. Now,
sure.
If I were to go to Japan,
yep,
and I'm gonna look this up because I have no idea.
I love this. I'm gonna make a very strong opinion, but let me look up to see what the price is. But I do get a general sense of where you're going with this.
All right. If I were to go to Japan, how much do you think a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola would cost?
Do I have to do it in dollars, or do you want me to do it in yen?
I don't know the conversion rate, but I can look it up.
I'd say about 500 yen.
The average price in Tokyo is 225 yen. Let's find the conversion.
It would be about $2.30.
Do you know the conversion rate of yen off the hand?
Yen are roughly a penny.
Oh, well, it says right here that 225 yen is worth $1.67. When I convert.
Oh, okay. So, less.
Yeah. Less than a penny. So, I mean, aside from inflation and conversion rates, like, the cost of things will be very different depending on that.
Right. Yeah. That's
If
actually
you
a pretty
want a
good deal.
if you want a loaf of bread in Soviet Russia,
Well,
be prepared to sell your child.
the thing is, in Soviet Russia, bread
Bread
eats
eat
you. In Soviet Russia, bread eat you.
That's true.
That's true, yeah. So there's that. But if you go to France, the baguettes practically hand themselves to you. So, something to think about. So I guess I will refine that statement, is that the shop in a town will tell you about the town.
That's more accurate.
More accurate, yeah. Granted, there are probably going to be a lot of differences between shopkeepers. Well, assuming that you are the kind of dynamic person who likes to create personalities for your shopkeepers, or the different shops.
It's the Nurse Joy.
Oh yes, everybody.
Officer Jenny of your game world.
They're all Nurse Joy. They're single one.
Related and similar.
And they do the exact same thing, and they look exactly the same, and you cannot tell them apart.
And then you get them together, 5 of them at once, and you're like, Officer Jenny, Officer Jenny, Officer Jenny, Officer Jenny.
Yeah.
And Brock is like...
Yeah, exactly. Well, because Brock is Brock, man.
Brock is Brock.
Brock is Brock, yeah. He's a problem anyway. But the thing is...
I can see the thumbnail now. It's 5 Officer Jennys and Brock just going...
Yeah, which is pretty much his entire state of being through that entire series. But yeah, okay, so...
That's why they abandoned Brock.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Brock. You're making things awkward for everybody. I'm sorry, Brock. This is hard enough with Ash and his Pikachu thing going on. We don't need you doing your stuff. But okay, so let's assume though I don't want to have all of my shopkeepers be the same. There will probably be a little bit of a difference, but you can still, I would make the case that you can still interact with the individual shopkeepers and you can learn a lot about the world, because if anybody's going to know about it, it is probably going to be the people that run shops themselves. They talk to most
shops people. Or people working and running taverns.
Taverns, inns, and also, I'd say, temples would probably be good. Yeah. You'd probably learn a lot. But I figure everybody's gonna be buying general goods. Like, if we're talking about a general goods store or a weapon store. Actually, even like a weapon store, a potion store, or anything like that would inform for an adventure a lot of things that they needed to know.
Sure. If a town actually has like an apothecary,
yeah,
that is different than just a general store. If a town's big enough and caters to adventurers, they'll probably have a specialty shop for adventurers. Now, if your town only has a general store, they probably won't have as much adventuring gear.
Which also tells you exactly how much adventuring goes on in that area.
Right. A good thing I was listening to about this actual topic not that long ago, not because I knew we were going to talk about it, just because it came up. Will be like, if the town doesn't really get adventurers a whole lot, why are they gonna... They might only have a single sword in town for sale. It might be a very, like, maybe it's an heirloom or a pricey magic weapon that's on display as a show of prestige.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it might just be the one. And it's not because they're trying to sell it. They're, you know, potentially they want to trade that to a trader for a really good item that they come in town with, and that it's worth a lot of money, and therefore they could trade it for something equally as valuable to them.
Sure.
Like, a small town probably might have a blacksmith, but they might not. So if they have blacksmith, they might have some simple weapons, and they might have a little bit of adventuring gear for when it comes up, but they're probably going to have limited stock.
Sure. I can also see the idea of you having, like, a general store, and then, for some reason, like, they have a giveaway. Like, if you can name the number of magic jelly beans that are in this jar, you can win you can win the deadliest sword in the world.
You win this bag of infinite jelly beans.
You win this bag of infinite jelly beans. Or you go to a town, and they have like an attraction like the Route 66 towns always did, that's like the world's smashiest hammer. And you're like, ooh, I could have a case where I could try to get the world's smashiest hammer.
Perfect. Who doesn't need the world's smashiest hammer?
Oh man, that's got to be an item now.
Actually, the Hulk doesn't need the world's smashiest hammer.
No, that's called his fist.
Yeah.
It's the fist. And you know what? Maybe the world's smashiest hammer is occasionally called Fist of Hulk. I'm still of the mindset that shops are really where you can get informed about the world far more than pretty much anywhere else. Taverns would be good, but they're also not going to sell you things. I don't think you learn about the actual economy and currency of the world as easily in the tavern.
You can trade. You can find people to trade with in the tavern. They'll sell you food and meals and information, probably.
They might have, like, little pop-up stalls in the,
Well, where do you think all of these people running shops in town go after a nice hard day working?
Oh, that's true. That's true. And then you have to catch them during off hours, and if you get them drunk, you can probably get better prices for things anyway.
Sure, or you just know they're not home and you get the best price by breaking into their shop.
You break into their shop, yeah. And actually, that informs you a lot about the world, too, because it also tells you what kind of security they actually have. And what law enforcement is like in this world, and how secure the trading district is, and what the crime rates are like here. You can find out a lot about the world that way, too.
Feel like you should run a racket sometime in a small town where you're a security
consultant.
You're offering security services.
Yeah.
And you're just randomly breaking windows and breaking into places at night.
Oh yeah.
When you know everyone's there and be like, man, the crime rates in this town really have gone off the rails lately. Looks like you need a security firm.
And you have a security firm, and then the great thing about it is, this is so terrific, is that you tell them about this magical protection stone, and it's just a freaking stone that you grabbed off the ground, and maybe you did some transmogrification to it to make it look glowy or something, and you say, we can sell you this stone, and as long as you pay the monthly fee for this stone, you will not get broken into, and then you just know where the stones are, and you just don't break into those shops anymore, and you break into the ones that don't have the stones.
Right, that's kind of what the Thieves Guilds do when they, mark.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we don't touch these because they pay protection money. I think that's what it essentially gets down to. Be a shame if somebody broke up this store. That's just that explains a whole lot of other things about mostly you and your adventuring party more than the world, though. So, anyway. So, okay, I think we've clarified this a little bit more. Shops can inform a lot about the world, but one will not inform everything about the world proper.
I think that's a good take for this.
Yeah, alright. Soapbox complete. Much more fun than most of our soapboxes.
Much more, not one-sided.
Yes. Because most of the one-sided ones are company do bad thing. Not happy with company do bad thing.
Companies do bad things. Companies are not people, and they should not be treated as people.
No. We know people that do bad thing, too. But company also do bad thing. Yes.
If we can treat a company as a person, we can throw company in jail.
Yes, it's true. We can hold company accountable.
That's the only way this is okay.
That's right. If company people, then company have personal responsibility to do right thing. Anyway, thank you for joining us on our TED Talk and on this soapbox.